Hey, what's up, y'all? With this video, I wanted to take a look at all the things that made Saints Row 2 an underrated masterpiece. Now, usually when you hear about Saints Row 2, people will tell you one of two things. They'll tell you that it's fun, or they'll tell you it has an amazing story. And while both these things are true, I feel like there's so much more that this game got right. And that's basically what this video is dedicated to, an in-depth look at everything that they did right with this game and what a lot of other developers and a lot of other titles aren't doing and are failing to match. I've said this in my past videos. I feel like Saints Row 2 has the best character creation in the entire series. Now, I feel like this because I generally like the options and how the characters look. I feel like this is the best character creator we've gotten from Volition. Now, Saints Row the Third was a step backwards, a regression, but I still didn't think it was as bad as what we got with the reboot and 4 going forward. The main thing that made Saints Row 2's so unique and amazing was the facial expressions and the walk animations. And on top of that, too, I feel like they generally nailed the culture. They had the hairstyles down, they had the swag down, they had the music down. It was just a culmination of the developers understanding their target audience. I love how expressive this character creator is and overall game is. You can make any type of boss you want to, cool, crazy, over the top, weird, etc. And the game world and the story allows you to be each one of those effortlessly. I personally feel like Saints Row 2 has the best pacing I've ever experienced out of any game I've ever played. Now there's a multitude of reasons for that that I will get into later in this video, but right now I just want to focus on the introduction. I love how the story picks up exactly where Saints Row 1 left off, and the pacing is just pure perfection. It's just wall to wall action. You're always on the edge of your seat, you're always engaged and interested in the story. There's never a dull moment with this game. The opening tutorial is your prison break. You're always constantly engaged in something action packed and interesting. I like how they give you two options for the prison break as well. There's a path for noobs and there's a path for more experienced players. After the prison break, you're able to experience what truly sets Saints Row 2 apart from every other open world game: accessibility and flexibility. At the very start of the game, you have access to all activities, diversions, and races. Early in the game, you're also given a choice of which story missions to play. This all gives Saints Row 2 an unmatched level of freedom, allowing you to play the story and all activities, diversions, and races in any order at the very start of the game. You are given a choice from a vast multitude of side missions and mini-games on how you wish to earn respect. The respect system in Saints Row 2 is my absolute favorite in the entire franchise. I love how much freedom it gives you. You're able to gain respect in a multitude of ways, and you basically have complete control of the moment-to-moment gameplay. Now, since there's a multitude of ways to gain respect, I'm going to break this up into two categories: passive and active. And I use the word passive lightly. I'm basically just saying anything that you do not have to actively engage in a minigame, diversion, or activity for as passive. Starting with the passive first, the respect system actively rewards you for precision kills, gang kills, headshots, nut shots, driving against traffic, near misses, stunt jumps, wheelies, beatdowns.
Must have been a fuck. We'll meet up again. How about getting out here and earning your salary?
I forgot to mention taunting gang members and melee kills. On to the active ways to earn respect. Now, I broke this into three different parts. First, you have diversions, then you have minigames, and then you have activities. Now, there is not much difference between diversions and minigames. They're all considered diversions. The reason I separate the two is because diversions give you respect, minigames give you money. I want to start with the diversions that actually do give you respect, and this one here is my favorite, drive-by. Now, I made a save and I actually beat the entire game without doing any activity and only doing this diversion to gain respect. It is totally doable, and this is what I mean by having complete control over the moment-to-moment gameplay.
See how you got that rep.
Now, the versions are actually exclusive to Saints Row 2. I did not know this until I made this video. I'm not super familiar with Saints Row 1, but this just gives me another reason why I love Saints Row 2 the best out of the entire series. Now, I liked almost all the diversions in this game. I wasn't a real big fan of streaking or the taxi driver, but I just did it for this video. My favorite one was probably drive-by and the ambulance diversion. All of them are fun though. I also like vehicle surfing. I absolutely love how the respect system blends so perfectly with the diversions and the activities, especially the diversions. You're constantly rewarded for acting like a lunatic, and this blends perfectly with the story and the game world. It just creates this super organic experience to where you find yourself doing this crazy stuff. This is where I feel like Saints Row the Third completely missed the mark. And while some of these things are available in both games, there's no incentive to do them. Whereas in Saints Row 2, you have incentive. With the revamped respect system of Saints Row the Third, it's just acting crazy for the sake of acting crazy. There's not really anything motivating you or driving you to do these wild and crazy things. On to the activities. Now, the activities in Saints Row 2 are some of the best in the entire series, in my opinion. The fact that most people like so many different activities is a testament to this. Some people really love Fuzz, some people really love crowd control, some people really love Fight Club. It's a diverse answer usually when you ask someone what's their favorite activity of Saints Row 2. Meanwhile, the Saints Row the Third and Saints Row 4 only have 12 activities, and what really makes this sad is a lot of them are just remixes of the same activity over and over and over again. Perfect example, Saints Row 4 has 5 different mayhem activities. 5. The main thing I love so much about Saints Row 2 is like the developers were aware of how awesome this game was. You have the ability to replay missions anytime you want to. You have the ability to replay activities anytime you want to. Like everything that you're able to do, you can go back and do it again later whenever you want to. On top of being rewarded for doing it moving forward in the story. It's just something that no other game has ever come close to doing. I love the level of variety and depth between each activity. There's so many different activities you can do in this game, and they're all so different from one another. And each of them have 6 levels. They all come with their own cutscene, and they all have their own reward related to that activity. Like Fight Club, for instance, here has a reward that gives you more melee damage. Now, I did not notice this feature on my first playthrough, but analyzing this game made me realize how ingenious it was. The style rank system multiplies your respect depending on your style rank level, and you can raise your style rank level by simply shopping. Now, there are certain pieces of items that give you more towards your style rank, but I always raise my style rank level just by organically shopping, buying what I like to wear or what I find cool. I really like this feature because it shines a light on the cosmetics of this game and it gives you a reason to go shopping. I love the fact that you have a reason to go to all these stores on the map. It really makes Stillwater feel like it's a living, breathing city. This is one of the things that they did better than any other open world, in my opinion. I still say Stillwater is the best open world city in gaming, hands down. I also like how they made NPCs comment on you wearing the same clothes 2 days or longer, saying you smell bad or you're poor, etc. In my opinion, these two features are the most impressive things about Saints Row 2. The freedom of Saints Row 2 is enhanced and complemented by its interiors and interactive environment. The game world is packed full of buildings and businesses that you're able to shop at, buy, or rob. And admittedly, there are a few buildings and businesses you can only enter, but they still serve their purpose of making Stillwater feel larger and more immersive. I'm still impressed to this day with how many buildings you're able to enter in Saints Row 2 and how many interiors are in the game. It's mind blowing how they were able to pull this off on the PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360. Because I've played GTA 5, like modded GTA 5, and it still doesn't even come close to the base game of Saints Row 2. There are so many interiors and buildings that you can enter, it's crazy. Even when compared to more modern open world games, Saints Row 2 still puts them all to shame in this area. I feel like Volition didn't get enough praise and credit along with Saints Row 2. I feel like both of them were kind of underappreciated because this is just an absolute technical marvel and a masterpiece. I haven't seen any other open world game come close to having this many interiors or this level of interactivity with the environment. And what's really surprising is they do not recycle interiors. Every gang has completely different locations. They occupy different building types. The Sons of Somni have completely different buildings from the Brotherhood. The Brotherhood have completely different buildings from the Ronin, etc. All of them have their own unique, diverse locations and interiors. I'm also impressed with a lot of the larger buildings they put into this game, like the college university, the 2 malls, and the courthouse, along with other buildings they have, like the Volition Development Studio, and honestly, just the gas stations and the restaurants. It just feels like a living, breathing city from all they've done here. A lot of the places that you see that you aren't able to go in other games, you're able to go in Saints Row. And not only are you able to go there, you can interact with the place. I also love the engine for this game. I like how things are not nailed down. I love the ragdoll physics. I like that you're able to just interact with the environment, like picking up like a fire hydrant or a stop sign and use it as a weapon or throw it, or picking up a brick or trash or a bottle or anything. I wish more games were like this nowadays, because I mean, obviously we have the technology and the power, but it was just so nice to just mess around with, objects in the game world. I also like how the style rank system carried over to the cribs and cars. This game just kind of pushes you to have nice things and then rewards you for having them. This is my all-time favorite video game soundtrack, hands down. I also like how they handled the playlist to where you have to actually go to a store in-game and buy the individual songs. If you're gonna have an open world, incentivize your player to explore it, and that's exactly what this does. I also just love the music selection here, man. It introduced me to so many different artists and even different genres of music. Now, I will admit I didn't really like the heavy metal rock, but everything else was just awesome to me. Like, I love listening to all this other music. Even now to this day, it's still timeless. The hidden CDs are some of my favorite unlockables, and just a really smart design choice. They decided to add to something that was already great and make it an unlockable and a collectible to basically push you to explore the city and enjoy more of this awesome soundtrack. I also love the placement of the CDs. They're in the game world to be found. It's not like other games where you have collectibles in just crazy hard to reach places. Here in Saints Row 2, you just need to explore and you'll find them. The pedestrians of Saints Row 2 are some of the most impressive I've ever seen in an open world game. You have a large variety of unique pedestrians, and this list only gets longer when you add the Hitman activity. On top of that, the regular pedestrians are no slouches either. They have their own unique AI scripts, and they all engage in various activities, such as rolling dice, Tai Chi in the park, playing various instruments.
Did you remember to take out the trash?
They also engage in certain activities and diversions like streaking and Septic Avenger. I am consistently impressed with this game's AI every single time I play it, and this goes beyond just pets and carries over into literally everyone in the game world. The police and the gangs all have very complex scripts going on here. The gangs will attack almost anyone, they'll fight with the police. The police will stop all and any crime. They don't just focus on your character. It's so refreshing to see this in an open world game.
You're down. I'm invincible.
That's how we
Tapping
feel
the
it.
fuck out.
Next time you die.
Yeah.
This is the last thing I'm going to talk about before I wrap this up, but pushbacks are something that definitely should have stayed in Saints Row. Saints Row the Third has something similar to this, but the pushbacks in Saints Row 2 are a bit more complex and a lot more fun. I feel like the wave-based combat of Saints Row the Third is just very monotonous and boring, whereas with Saints Row 2 you actually target lieutenants, you have other gang members trying to protect the lieutenants. To me personally, it has a lot more depth than Saints Row the Third, where you're just mindlessly blasting away at waves of enemies. Here, you're actually fighting over territory, whereas in Saints Row the Third, you're just protecting property, mainly stores. I'd also like to briefly talk about Strongholds. Now, these are some of my favorite missions in the first two Saints Row titles, and like the name suggests, they're gang strongholds in different locations of Stillwater. Saints Row the Third strongholds became missions, and in Saints Row 4 they were completely abolished from the series. I feel like here they were at their absolute best. I also liked them in 1, but they just cranked the meter up to max with Saints Row 2. The strongholds are some of the best missions in the entire game in my opinion.
Bad as they come.
One of the main things that makes Saints Row 2 so legendary is the fact that the gameplay never deviates from the premise. This is a grounded game about gang warfare, and that's constantly reflected in story missions, activities, diversions, strongholds, and pushbacks. While the sequels lose sight of this, Saints Row 2 has a laser-like focus that easily puts even Grand Theft Auto San Andreas to shame. Missions end with newspaper headlines, the news reports previous missions, NPCs react to changes in Stillwater, and character deaths. What's really crazy is after 15 minutes, there's still a lot about this game I wasn't able to cover. If you guys have not played this game, do yourself a favor and get it. It's dirt cheap. I want to say thank you to all my subscribers, new and old, and thank you for making it this far in the video. Guys, please share this for me, man. It took a lot of work, like a lot of work. I've been working on this for a super long time. Well, I hope y'all like it, man. I'll see y'all in the next video. Thank y'all for watching. Peace.